Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fixture Watch. Before looking at the full FDR table, a quick word about OneFootball who have kindly sponsored this video. The world's best football news app has now been made even better, relaunching with a fresh new design. Gain access to news, scores and stats from leagues all over the world, with a brand new interface that's cleaner, simpler and smarter than ever. As for FPL, you can follow each team in the Premier League and then get live updates from all the goals and assists every game week. Download it for free using the link in the description box below. At the top of the FDR table from Game Week 3, with a difficulty rating of 10 over the next 5 game weeks, is Wolves, who now embark on a run of games that's very hard to ignore. With their fixture against Man City out of the way, Wolves now boast what looks to be a very favourable run, facing West Ham, Fulham, Leeds, Newcastle and Palace in the next 5 games. The next 3 in particular look very appealing, with West Ham, Fulham and Leeds conceding a staggering combined total of 18 goals in the first 2 games. This should be absolute gold dust for the likes of Jimenez up front, who has already started the campaign strongly, scoring in both game weeks. As for the other forwards, Neto and Podence, both look to be underpriced this season at 5.5 million, and both are listed as midfielders in FPL. Granted, there is still a bit of concern about rotation in these spots, because Adama Traore and Fabio Silva may get minutes here, especially with their new right-back Semedo signing and therefore pushing Traore further forward. Defensively, Wolves were incredibly solid in the back end of last season, and in the 9 games of Project Restart they only conceded 6 goals. During those 9 games they also conceded just 6 big chances, the least of the division. For this reason, a Wolves defender looks to be a shrewd purchase for the next 5 game weeks, with Saiss in particular showing excellent goal threat to begin this season at a cut price 5.1 million. With a difficulty rating of 12 over the next 5 game weeks, West Brom sits second in the FDR table. With West Brom, I feel similar to how I felt at the start of the season. Their fixtures according to FDR were favourable, but actually on paper I'm not so sure. The Baggies only have 2 home games in the next 5 game weeks, and those are Chelsea and Burnley, certainly not easy. They do have away trips to Southampton, Brighton and Fulham though, and all 3 of those teams have conceded 3 goals or more in their opening home games this season. Considering West Brom have already conceded 8 goals in the opening 2 game weeks, I think that's confirmed what we probably already knew, that their defence looks to be an absolute no-go. But there's no doubting the Baggies do have some exciting attacking players, and their talisman Matheus Pereira has already impressed, with a brilliantly taken free kick against Everton. His stats from the Championship last year were outstanding, and that's an understatement. As well as scoring 8 goals, he produced a whopping 16 assists, the most in the Championship last season. Certainly one to keep an eye on at a budget 6 million. Another exciting talent in their ranks is 5.5 million rated Diangana, who also bagged a very impressive goal against the Toffees. In this price range, I think lots of managers now are looking towards Daniel Podence at Wolves, but if you're not fancying him, then Diangana could be a nice punt at 5.5 million. Another player definitely worth keeping on the watch list at least. As we look back to the FDR table, there's plenty of teams here in the top half all tied on 13. We've got the likes of Fulham, Palace and champions Liverpool all boasting fairly good runs over the next 5 weeks. This suggests our Liverpool players and perhaps Mitrovic could all be worthy of holding on to, and also brings Wilfried Zaha into the equation as a mid-price midfield option. A team with both form and fixtures on their side is Everton, off the back of 2 very impressive wins so far. The Toffees have started the season excellently, with a gritty display away to Spurs in the opening game week, and then an impressive 5-2 win away to West Brom last time out. Calvert-Lewin's a player I had very little luck with last season, owning him for 7 game weeks and not getting one single attacking return. For this reason, I was determined not to go anywhere near him this time round. But what I failed to do is now consider the new players playing around him, and with Decore, Alan and Rodriguez all playing well, and thus improving the performances of Richarlison too, this all seems to be beneficial to Calvert-Lewin. Not to mention the already excellent delivery that Luca Digne provides. In the opening 2 game weeks, Everton have created 25 chances, that's the second most behind Liverpool, as well as being first for successful crosses on 11. Providing they keep up this kind of creativity, then Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison can only profit from this. Elsewhere, James Rodriguez has looked very comfortable in the first 2 games, with 7 chances created, the second highest in the league so far. The only negative I would say is that it is just 2 games, and all I'd like to see now is a bit of consistency. They do have Crystal Palace away next, a team that have only conceded 1 goal in the opening 2, and before we overhype them too much, it is worth remembering that West Brom were down to 10 men in that 5-goal drubbing. With that said, their run of fixtures is one of the better on paper, so plenty of justification there if you do want to bring them in. Richarlison, Luca Digne, Rodriguez, Calvert-Lewin, all good shouts I think. Fresh off the back of a 5-goal win away to Southampton last time out, Tottenham still boasts some decent fixtures over the next 5 game weeks. It's their home fixtures in particular that look most appealing, with 3 home games in the next 5 against Newcastle, West Ham and Brighton. This decent run extends into game week 8 as well, with an away trip to West Brom. Defensively so far, they have looked very suspect, and because in FPL we can't rely just on attacking returns from defenders, then all of a sudden 6 million for Doherty does feel very expensive if they're not going to keep those clean sheets. However, if you do still have the right wing back, then in my opinion, he's an easy hold at home to Newcastle this week at the very least. As for Kane and Son, well of course any player is going to look very appealing after scoring 20 plus points in the previous game week, and considering they do have 3 nice home games in the next 5 weeks, I can't really argue with anyone bringing them in. I could make the same point that I made about Everton, and ideally it would be good to see some consistency first, especially because in just 2 games we've seen 2 very different performances from Spurs. But again, the fixtures look decent, so some good reasoning there to bring them in if you do fancy them to kick on. With a difficulty rating of 14 in the next 5 game weeks sit Manchester City, just inside the top half. But with their blank game week now out of the way, and following an impressive win away to Wolves last time out, their players, as per usual, jump straight back onto our radars. With Kevin De Bruyne picking up a customary goal and assist in that fixture, he outscored Aubameyang in just 1 game week, and rewarded any manager that started the season with him instead of the Gabonese striker, while simultaneously saving themselves a transfer. They do still have Leicester and Arsenal to play in 2 of the next 3, so perhaps a small argument there to continue without them. But City are a different beast, and if they can put 3 goals past Wolves, arguably one of the best defences in the league away from home, that puts a different perspective on their upcoming run. As always, rotation will play a big part here, but you feel De Bruyne and Sterling are probably the safest attacking wise, while Jesus up front should keep his place with Aguero currently out injured. So let's quickly look now towards the bottom of the FDR table and do a quick run through of which teams have a much more difficult run over the next 5 game weeks. Also, if you find the Fixture Watch helpful, then please be sure to drop a like and most importantly get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. Towards the bottom, we've got Newcastle, who face Tottenham away, Man United, Wolves away and Everton in 4 of the next 5 games. With a difficulty rating of 17 in the next 5 game weeks, Sheffield United as well sit towards the bottom, because in game weeks 6 and 7 they face Liverpool and Man City in back-to-back fixtures, not to mention an away trip to Arsenal in game week 4. The Blades do have home fixtures against Leeds and Fulham coming shortly, so they can still be handy options in the short term. But with the way Leeds are scoring at the moment, even a clean sheet there could be very unlikely, especially with their key centre-back John Egan suspended for that one. As for Arsenal and West Ham, well, they both sit rock bottom of the FDR table by some way, each having a difficulty rating of 20. In just the next 5 game weeks, Arsenal have 3 away trips to Liverpool, Man City and Man United. By no means ideal. It doesn't look much better for West Ham either, who on paper have a very daunting run, as they face Wolves, Leicester, Spurs, Man City and Liverpool. No doubt a huge few weeks for David Moyes. So that wraps up this episode of the Fixture Watch. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if so, please be sure to get subscribed to FPL TV. It really helps the channel. FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all in the next video.